Good morning, Ms. Rodriguez. Ma'am, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. Second offense. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On March 4th, 2025, the officer was dispatched to a minor accident at 1700 block and is arrived to serve. The officer made contact with a witness who stated she heard and saw the defendant, the driver of the sole occupant of the vehicle, sideswiped a parked motor vehicle. The officer noted the vehicle was parked incorrectly facing the opposite way. The witness stated she believes the defendant is intoxicated, and the defendant stated she hit the motor vehicle while driving as she took her eyes off the road when trying to retrieve her cell phone, which fell to the floor. The defendant stated she remained on scene because she wanted to make it right with the owner. The officer observed slurred speech and swaying, and the defendant admitted to having drinks earlier in the day. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted and the HGN test began, however, was suspended at the defendant's request due to high winds. The defendant was placed under arrest for suspicion of DWI and was transported to the jail. Standard field sobriety tests were then conducted at the jail. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 7 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant was read DIC and consented to provide breath. The first sample came back deficient and the second sample came back unacceptable. A blood search warrant was signed and executed.
Well, ma'am, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. You will be randomly tested. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or any illegal drugs, your bond will be revoked. You'll go into custody. I'm also now placing a restriction on your license. You're not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. If you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock, then likewise, you will go to jail. We send notice to DPS of this restriction and this requirement so that if you're caught driving a vehicle, it doesn't matter where it is. Every officer in this state will know that you're required to have an interlock. So if you're caught driving a vehicle, they will arrest you. You've got a great lawyer here. Listen to him. He'll take care of you. Because you have him, I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with him. He'll tell you when you have to come back to court. For now,
She's already had the interlock installed.
wonderful. Okay, so you're just not much of anything. Just stay in contact with him. He'll tell you what to do. We'll just have you sign a reset and then you're on your way. Okay, thanks. Okay, this is you, Ray, right?
Good morning, Judge. Yes, sir.
Hey, good morning. You are Stephen Chavez.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chavez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. Or wait, Stephen, we've got two Chavezes, right? Okay, so you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. This is a Class A misdemeanor. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, sir. So you know you're not here alone. Your lawyer is here with you, but he's on Zoom.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Judge. On March 6, 2025, the officer received a call from an officer who was finishing a separate unrelated call and observed a vehicle stop 150 feet from the intersection for an unknown reason for a short period of time, then accelerate unnecessarily quickly before coming to a stop at the intersection. The vehicle was stopped straddling the dividing line between lanes and stopped past the designated stopping point. The vehicle remained stationary through several light cycles and officers approached the vehicle. The officer observed the defendant, the driver and sole occupant reclined in the driver's seat unconscious while the vehicle was running and in drive. The officers woke up the defendant and the defendant appeared confused and took his foot off the brake, causing the vehicle to collide with the marked patrol vehicle placed in front of the vehicle. The officer observed the defendant to have red bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, and an odor of an alcoholic beverage from his person. The defendant was transported to Pasadena jail for further investigation and denied drinking alcohol. Standard field sobriety tests were administered, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 6 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant was read the DIC and consented to provide breath. The results were 0.183 and 0.180.
All right. Can you run his NCIC? How many DWIs does he have and whether he has a license as well?
One prior DWI out of Minnesota and his license is eligible.
Okay. Mr. Chavez, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you.
Sir.
If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds.
Yes, sir.
I'm now placing a restriction also on your license that you're not to drive any vehicle that doesn't have a guardian interlock on it. If you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock, likewise, you will go to jail. We send notice to DPS so that every single officer in this state knows that if you get pulled over, you're supposed to have an interlock. So if you get pulled over, an officer sees that you don't have an interlock, you will go to jail.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? Now, you have a lawyer. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance, but it is your responsibility to stay in touch with Mr. DWI, and he'll tell you if and when you have to come back to court. If he tells me that he can't get hold of you because you're playing games, likewise, I will issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes, sir.
All I want is my city protected. Don't pick up any new cases. Don't become a danger to my city. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
For now, I'll have you go sign a reset with Victoria. You'll get with Fleischer for your bond conditions, and after that, you're free to go. Joaquin, of course.
We're here on a plea.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm here and been followed away.
Yes, I'm ready. Are you ready? Or you are Katherine Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
You were charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You have worked out an agreement where they're going to reduce this to a first offender DWI education class. You need to understand that this still makes two DWIs that are on your record. What happens on the next one? No. Prison. A minimum of 2 years, a maximum of 10 years in prison is what you will be facing if you ever pick up another DWI. And you don't have to be stumbling, passed out drunk for an officer to charge you with a felony offense. All you need is to get into a car, the faintest smell of alcohol, anything funky in the car, they're going to run your record, they're going to see this, and then you're going to be facing a crap load of the time. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I were you, even if you've had a sip, I wouldn't get into a car.
I understand.
You give up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement today. What you were doing is you were pleading guilty to this DWI. It is a 12-month Harris County jail sentence to be probated for 15 months. You will do a repeat offender DWI education class. Two victim impact panels. You will do a TRAS, which is an evaluation to see what other conditions you may need. If they assess other conditions, you must fulfill them. No breath test refusal, meaning that if you were pulled over in a car, an officer asks you to submit a breath test, you must do it while you're on this probation. If you don't, you're in violation. And if you violate this probation, I will issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes, sir.
You're looking at an entire year in jail. Do you understand? No drugs, alcohol, guardian interlock, 25 hours of community service. Was there an accident in this thing? You know, you are allowed to make mistakes in life, but when you make mistakes and you endanger other people's lives on a repeated basis, the cost is big. And this is going to cost you big now. There is now a supervisory fee that you will be required to pay. And if you don't pay it, every $100 you owe, you will sit 1 day in jail. There is a actually it's reduced to first, right? Is it true or untrue that it's a 0.15 or above?
That's true.
Okay, I'm going to find that that's true. Now, there is a $4,500 surcharge that you will be required to pay. Somehow we have to get your attention that this is unacceptable. And if it doesn't get paid, 1 day in jail for every $100 that you owe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Can I pay overtime? I'm currently
Of
not.
course.
Okay.
Absolutely. We will give
Currently
you,
laid off.
I'll give you 2 years to pay. If you need more time than that, I'm absolutely willing to do whatever you need to do. But somehow we have to get your attention. And I'm going to tell you now also, if I find that you consume alcohol while you're on this probation, it's very possible you may be required to do inpatient treatment. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I call a motion requesting the orders to be, the supervisory fees, mandatory fees be waived. I believe if you question Ms. Rodriguez, you'll find that she may be qualified to be indigent, Your Honor.
I normally do Joaquin on first all day, but on a second, we need to get their attention. You're bypassing a mandatory week in jail that you should normally be doing because they're reducing this to a first. So it's essentially a slap on the wrist, no jail time. We have to somehow get your attention. And usually the way that works is you got to hit them where it hurts, where it's either jail time or it's in the pocketbook. Somehow we have to get your attention. It's unacceptable. What I'm trying to do is prevent you from picking up yet another DWI because you're what, 42 years old, 35 years old? You're gonna be driving for the next 30 years. The law never forgets. And the problem is you will, because 10 years, 12 years, 13 years, time heals all wounds. But the law doesn't forget. And if you run into a situation where there's something catastrophic that happens in your life and you go, you know what, I'm just gonna go out for a drink. You get pulled over. We need you to remember this for the rest of your life. Somehow we need to get that to happen. And I'm hoping that this is it. We can put on a longer payment plan if needed, Joaquin. So, you
That
know,
would be appreciated, Judge.
I mean, we can do 3 years, we can do as much as we want, but I wanted to get her attention.
Yes,
right?
sir. And I also wanted to ask the court about since now she's going on probation, can she get the scram and the?
Absolutely, but first she needs now I am going to suspend your license because it's a second offense. I'm going to suspend it for a year. You will need a portable device. Once you get that portable device, we will take the ankle monitor off. So she needs a guardian interlock
Yes, sir.
for
I
the
have
life of
already
this
have.
probation.
Yes,
You
sir.
have a where?
An interlock.
In your car?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm gonna end up suspending it now. So once you get a portable device, I'll take the thing off your ankle.
Okay, so, I mean, why is the court suspending her license, Your Honor?
Because it's a DWI second.
Even though she's pleading to a first?
And it gets suspended regardless.
The ALR.
It's a DWI. She's doing a multiple DWI education class. DPS is gonna suspend her license regardless.
So you want her to get the interlock, I mean, the portable, then she can get the scram
I mean,
removed?
I get you on the ALR hearing, but the way DPS works is, from my experience, when you do multiple DWI education classes, they end up suspending your license regardless. So you need to be on the lookout for that. So,
Well,
you know-
Your Honor, we'll be filing an occupational petition here soon. We're gonna ask the court to allow her to drive. She needs to
You do it for a
get a
living, yeah.
job, Your Honor.
I'm a data analyst, but I recently got laid off in January. So I'm trying to find a job, but it's making it a little bit difficult with the ankle monitors to,
all right, I won't suspend the license then.
Thank you, Judge.
thank you very much, sir.
But before you start driving, can you run a license right now, please?
Yes, Judge.
Just to make sure.
I see as of
Before
now.
you
it's-
start, like I said, because this is now going to reflect another conviction and you're going to be doing a subsequent education class, you need to be on the lookout. You need to make sure that DPS has your correct, address on file because they're going to send you notice. They should send you notice if they do about the suspension.
I see it's not eligible right now.
Well, Your Honor, I have the order that we want here. I mean, DPS, the website is notoriously late for updating theirs, but
Does it show?
The only most recent enforcement action that says canceled interlock required as of.
Okay, since she probably didn't send the $10 fee is probably what I'm thinking,
Yes, sir.
So DPS should have sent you notice that you have to pay a $10 fee to get a special license that you carry on you because of the interlock requirement. If you don't pay that $10 fee, they end up suspending your license. You're not allowed to drive, man. Your license is now currently suspended.
we'll get it done, Judge.
Okay,
Don't drive right now. If you drove here, you can't drive home. It's suspended.
okay,
If you drive, you're in violation of this probation as of today. So you need to call DPS to figure out what you need to do to get your license reinstated. So don't drive. So what are the total costs now? So the total cost of this is 5,010. I will give you as much time as you need to pay, like I said. But if you start drinking, you pick up a new case, I'm just going to go bonkers. I want you to know now. Don't. Hopefully this has been enough to get your attention that we mean business. Every day someone dies from a DWI in our county. It's not fair. All we're asking, just don't kill anyone. How do you plead to this offense? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I'm going to find you guilty, sentence you with agreement. You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. Once you accept this, there's no turning back. You can never undo this. Now, like I said, you do something to violate this, a warrant will issue. You will go into custody. You're facing up to a year in jail. If you ever have any issues, come back. We can talk about it. We can work through it. But the worst possible thing you can also do is just take off and abscond. That's a guaranteed warrant. Okay? All right. Good luck, man. Thanks.
Thank you, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Wolf.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On March 7th, 2025, Officer 1 was dispatched to check by a unit at the 3800th block of Revel Street regarding a minor crash. Officer 1 made contact with Officer 2, who on viewed a two motor vehicle accident. Officer 2 observed the defendant operating a silver Ford minivan and crashed with a black Honda Santa Fe. Both drivers were moved to a gas station. The witness observed the defendant driving the silver minivan and stated she observed the defendant crash into her. The officer observed the defendant to have bloodshot, glossy eyes and sluggish speech and poor balance. SFSTs were administered, 6 out of 6 clues on the HGN, 5 out of 8 clues on the walk and turn, 3 out of 4 clues on the one-leg stand. The defendant was placed under arrest and read the DIC, and he consented to provide a blood specimen.
It's not back.
No.
Prior to DWI, just one from with us or any more?
It looks like there is a pending DWI from Galveston County from back in 2021.
Can you please confirm whether that is actually pending now? Because I'm going to have big issues if that is actually pending. Please. I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case, Mr. Wolf. I'm ordering you now. Just take a seat for me in the jury box. I'm not ready to go forward. I want to know if you have an open DWI. I have found that there's probable cause to go forward with your DWI second in here. You also have another DWI in another county. Stop.
Okay, that was driver
Stop.
license.
Stop.
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to say anything. I will appoint you a lawyer today, but it's unacceptable that you continue to pick up cases here, there, everywhere. Unacceptable. And I don't think that a PR bond is the right thing to do. I'm now going to revoke the PR bond and he goes with you. You're a danger to our community. That's unacceptable.
Just driver.
Stop. I will appoint you a lawyer. I don't want you to say anything now. I would like, did you talk to a lawyer? Can you appoint him someone, please? You are not to drive at all. I don't care what you're going, what you need to do. Do not drive. The only thing I'm asking you to do is please don't kill someone on our roads. That's all I'm asking you to do, man. Every single day, we have an intox man, an assault that happens because of this.
Fantastic.
Stop. There is probable cause to go forward. We have trials to determine that, but I have found that there's sufficient to go forward. You've got multiple cases open in another county. Goes with you. I will appoint you a lawyer. You tell your side to the lawyer and then we can talk after. You're saying it is an open DWI in Galveston.
Did speak to the clerk, they said it was not a DWI, yes. And I double checked, and I was gonna speak to the prosecutor because they were.
Yeah, I get, no, I get it. But if you've been able to verify with the clerk over there that he has an open DWI second there and now a DWI second over here, no, 20,000, 20,000. Good morning, Mr. Alipio.
Yes.
Sir, you were charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
On March 13th, 2025, an officer observed a blue Ford F-250 driving at a high rate of speed. The officer paced the Ford driving 79 miles per hour in a 60-mile-per-hour zone. The officer observed the vehicle to fail to maintain a single lane, driving over a solid dash line, and driving between two lanes with other motor vehicles in the area when the vehicle failed to maintain the single lane. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer made contact with the defendant, the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle. The officer observed the defendant to have slurred speech. The defendant stated he drank one alcoholic drink prior to the traffic stop. The officer observed the defendant to be staggering while walking, using the motor vehicle for support, and the defendant to have the mild odor of alcohol upon his breath. The defendant appeared confused, and the officer had to repeat himself multiple times. SFSTs were conducted. 6 out of 6 clues were observed on the HDN. 2 out of 8 clues observed on the walk and turn. 3 out of 4 clues observed on the one-leg stand. The defendant stated he drank 2 to 3 alcoholic drinks prior to the traffic stop. The defendant was arrested. An inventory search was conducted of the defendant's vehicle, and the officer observed a warm to the touch white cup in the center console.
Alcohol while driving?
3 to 3/4 full while with the smell of an alcoholic beverage. The defendant was read the DIC and refused the breath test. A blood search warrant was signed and executed.
Mr. Alipio, I would hope that you would recognize it's elementary that you're not to have alcohol in the car while you are driving. I'm going to find that there is sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, I will put you in jail. I am now also taking away your privilege to drive. You are not allowed to drive. If I find that you do, because I will have you sign an affidavit, a promise with me that you're not going to drive. I don't give a rat's behind what your excuse is. If I find that you drive, likewise, you will go to jail. I do not know what your immigration status is, but if you are not in this country with permission and you go to jail and immigration finds you, they will put an immigration detainer on you and you will be stuck like Chuck in custody until this case is over with, and then you get shipped off to immigration. Do you understand?
Yes.
I am sending notice to DPS that there is now a restriction on you that you are not to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. If you were caught driving a vehicle and it does not have an ignition interlocked, every officer in this state will know to arrest you and put you in jail. Do you understand?
¿Usted lo entiende? Yes.
Your Honor, just to clarify, so he can drive so long as he has a guardian in.
No, I'm taking away, he's not allowed to drive at all.
Would you consider reinstating his ability to drive because he owns his own business?
I'm not ready yet. All I know is that he's got alcohol allegedly in the car while he's driving, and it's a second offense. Look at me, Mr. Alipio.
Examíname, señor.
Do not drive. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Because of this restriction, you will now be required to obtain a portable device that you're going to take with you everywhere you go to prove to me that you are not consuming alcohol. I don't know if you have a problem with drugs or alcohol. If you do, now is the time for you to address it. Because if I see it becomes a problem, I'm going to address it for you. And I promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. Do you understand?
¿Lo entiende?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Mr. Venus, correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure. Yes, Judge.
Yes, sir. I'll be as much of a help as I can.
On a sentence of 10 years in prison, probated for 10, can that be used on a third degree to enhance to a 15 to life?
If the probation is successfully completed, no, for enhancement purposes. It could be for jurisdictional purposes, to make under 4904 or whatever it is, to make it would count as a previous conviction for those purposes, just like an assault family member, even a deferred adjudication would count to make a second.
My curiosity stems from because with his intox assault, he was sentenced to 10 years, probated for 10 years, and it looks like he may have completed successfully, but it's still a felony conviction, right?
Correct, but it's not, you can't use it to enhance punishment ranges, essentially. It could be a jurisdictional paragraph, but not an enhancement paragraph, if that makes sense.
My concern, Mr. Torres, is you're now pleading guilty to this DWI second. The problem is that if you pick up another DWI, from now on, you're facing a third degree felony. You're looking at 2 to 10 in the penitentiary. And I don't know if they can use that intox assault conviction to enhance you to an even further penalty, a further consequence. I mean, that's why I'm asking you. I don't know. You know, I know misdemeanors, but the problem is that with a felony conviction, they can use it to enhance punishment. Perhaps it's a 15 to life next time you pick up another DWI. I don't know. But do you want to take that risk? That's the problem. I mean, imagine all this that you've suffered now, and we're here yet again. What's it going to take? A death? Well, I know you say no. Everybody says no. If I had one strand of hair for every time, I'd have a nice looking head of hair. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. Is it, what are we doing?
Oh, let me get this straight from Bill.
You're giving up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law, and you give up the right to appeal. Once you accept this agreement, it will go on your record. It will be there forever. And I'm telling you now, your record, it's not a good thing. You get pulled over, even with the faintest smell of alcohol, you're going to be charged with a felony. Do you understand? I wouldn't, even if you've had a sip of alcohol, I wouldn't get into a car. So he goes in today?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna waive the fee because you're going into jail now. So I'm not gonna tack it on, but stop. Don't kill someone. This weekend alone, 3 people died on our roads this weekend. This weekend, 3 people died. It's not hard. Just don't get into a car. How do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty? I'm going to find you guilty, sentence you to 50 days in jail. I'll give you credit for the 2 days that you've done. I'm going to suspend your license for 1 year. do not drive until you get a license, and then we'll take him into custody now, and I'm gonna roll your report so you won't know anything, all right? Okay,
you, Judge.
Good luck. Thank you.
Good to see you.
For coming. Great to see you, man.
You too, Judge.
You are Ronald Monzour.
Yes.
You speak English?
Yes.
So you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On March 20th, 2025, an officer observed the defendant's vehicle in the street and observed the defendant talking to prostitutes on the street in or around the 3700 block of Tidwell Road. The officer followed the defendant's vehicle into a nearby motel and they were almost struck head on by the defendant. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer observed the defendant to be the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle and observed the strong odor of alcohol upon his breath. The defendant refused to answer questions without a lawyer present. The officer observed the strong odor of alcohol upon his breath, slurred speech, and bright glassy eyes. SFSTs were conducted 6 out of 6 on the HDN, and the defendant refused the walk and turn in one leg stand. The defendant refused to provide a breath specimen.
Judge, that's not how I read the offense report. I read that after he almost struck them, they then followed him. And then he came to a complete stop in the roadway and then they stopped him. So I don't see any traffic violation, yeah.
I'm looking at the dim sound, Judge.
Okay.
And that's for me, it's a distinction from what was read. So what?
It says, they viewed the defendant, speaking to prostitutes on the street and around the 700th block of Tidwell Road.
Talking to people.
Officer stated, people, sorry, Judge.
I-
Yeah, thank you. I'm just reading, yeah. Officer stated that they followed the defendant's vehicle into a nearby motel and they were almost struck head on by the defendant's vehicle as it exited the motel parking area. The officer then stated that they have activated their emergency lights in the patrol vehicle and got behind the defendant's vehicle.
Did they let him drive a little bit and then pull him over, or was it?
Yeah, he got into my understanding, he got into the roadway and then he came to a stop and then they stopped him. So I don't see any traffic violation. I don't see any crime being committed.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, perhaps there were. She's saying that he almost hit them, right? And maybe he went out a little bit more and then sees them, and I don't know.
No, yeah, they're asking you to
Saying that
assume.
hits them, so
Yeah.
at that point they pull him over. I mean, go get the video, go
Sure.
get body cam.
Sure.
You see something different,
Sure.
always. I do think that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. Mr. Monzour, can you run his license, please?
Yes. His driver's license is eligible, Your Honor.
I am now placing a restriction on your license, Mr. Monzour. You are not allowed to drive any vehicle that's not equipped with an ignition interlock on it. I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. No, sir, Mr. Ramos.
sir.
Likewise, you are not to drive any vehicle unless it has an ignition interlock. I'm sending notice to DPS in Austin so that every single officer in this state knows if you're driving a vehicle that doesn't have a blow and go in it, they're going to arrest you and put you in jail. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm not asking much. All I want my streets to be safe, and I'm going to do everything in my power to protect it. If you got a great lawyer here, listen to Herman. He'll take care of you. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance, but you must stay in touch with him. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games and you've gone AWOL, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. For now, I'll have you go to Victoria Center Reset. We'll have you get with pre-trial for your bond conditions, and after that, you're free to
I
go.
think you already had the interlock and everything previously. And it's the agency. Okay,
All
great.
right.
Mr. Monzour.
All right, Mr. Wong, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On March 18th, 2025, an officer was dispatched to a call for service in reference to a major crash. The witness stated that he observed the defendant sitting in the front driver's seat behind them and crash into another vehicle by rear-ending it at the 9,000th block of Bel Air Boulevard. The witness stated that he observed the defendant was driving recklessly prior to the vehicle crash. The officer observed a strong odor of alcohol emitting from the defendant's breath, slurred speech, glossy eyes, and slightly unsteady balance. The defendant admitted to consuming an unknown amount of alcohol. SFSTs were conducted. 6 out of 6 clues were served on the HGN, and the defendant was unable to perform the walk and turn test in one leg stand due to a past ankle injury. The defendant consented to provide a breath specimen. The results were 0.123 and 0.122.
How many prior DWIs have you in an NCIC?
Yes, he has 1 prior DWI.
Here, anywhere else, anything else? No? Great, license?
He does have
Please.
he does have anything, John Wong.
Right, that's who it needs to be, not David.
That's the picture.
His driver's license is eligible, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Wong, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case, and I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to put you in jail. No more PR bonds. I am now also placing another restriction on you because it's a second offense. I'm ordering you to obtain an ignition interlock, and you're not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have one. If you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have one, you will go to jail. Do you understand? I'm sending notice to DPS in Austin so that every single officer in the state knows. You understand? Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance so you don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with the other Mr. Wong and he'll tell you if and when you have to come back to court. For now, I'll have you get a Victoria sign a reset. You'll get with pre-chop for your bond conditions and then you're free to go. Oh, morning, Mr. Hernandez Ramos.
I'm sorry, what is?
Good morning, Mr.
Buenos
Hernandez
días,
Ramos.
señor Hernández Ramos.
Let's jail.
Back.
You are on bond for a DWI. You signed an affidavit with me promising me that you would not drive.
A manejar.
And now you've picked up a new DWI.
¿Puedo hablar o no?
Can I speak or no?
You're going to do probable cause in the case. You have the right to remain silent. They can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Señor.
Mhm.
Está bien.
Not a problem.
Thank you, Judge.
Piensa.
Judge, on May 4th, 2025, officers were at a Shell gas station and observed the defendant near the driver door of his vehicle and observed what appeared to be an open container in a black plastic bag on the center console of the truck. The defendant was visibly intoxicated with unsteady gait, balance, and almost fell attempting to enter his vehicle. Law enforcement officer advised the defendant in Spanish it was probably not a good idea for him to enter his vehicle in his condition, which he acknowledged and did not enter the truck. Once officers returned to their vehicle, officers observed the defendant in the driver's seat of the pickup truck and was seen turning the vehicle on. Officers at this time began a DWI investigation and observed the odor of alcoholic beverage on the defendant's person and breath. The defendant also had poor balance and gait and was having to lean on his vehicle for proper balance. The defendant spoke in slurred Spanish and when asked, admitted to drinking prior to driving. The defendant stated he had drunk 2 12-ounce beers at home prior to arriving at the gas station and had only eaten tacos at approximately 12 p.m. earlier in the day. This time, upon observing the inside of the vehicle, there was no container found in a 32-ounce Modelo bottle. That was cold to the touch. The law enforcement officer then carried out standardized blood sobriety test and observed 6 out of 6 clues on the HGN. 6 out of 8 clues on the walk and turn. And 3 out of 4 clues on one leg stand.
Question.
The defendant consented to a breath test in 0.185 and 0.186.
Where was this? I'm pretty sure you said it. I just.
Shell gas station?
In Harris County, Texas.
Mr. Hernandez, let me express my deep disappointment with you. Not only did you promise me when you picked up the first DWI that you would not drive, not only did you promise me that you would not allegedly consume alcohol, not only last time, like this time, have alcohol in the car while allegedly driving. I would presume that it's damn elementary that you're not to have alcohol in the car while you are driving. Anything you say to me will go in one ear and will go out the other, because I know,
Yo sé.
given the facts, you refuse to comply with bond conditions. As a result, I am now revoking your bond on the first case and I'm setting it at $25,000. And on your second case, I will do the same. I think that you are a deep and utter danger to our county, and nothing will protect our citizens from you other than Jay. I don't know if you are going to get out. If you do, you were ordered to remain under house confinement. You will have a GPS monitor on your ankle on one, and on your other ankle, you will get a scram device so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. I am now going to decide whether I'm going to have a contempt hearing, because now you could be facing an additional 6 months in jail for violating, or perhaps violating, this affidavit that you signed promising us you're not going to drive. I'm now also ordering you not to drive any vehicle that's not equipped with an ignition interlock. I'm sending notice to DPS in Austin so that every single officer in the state will know if you are caught in a vehicle, it must have an interlock. And if they catch you in a vehicle and it doesn't have an interlock driving, then you will go to jail. Anything that you want to add?
No, Judge.
Anything from the state? Okay. All right, Mr. Hernandez. We'll have you come up, swear to us that you're not going to drive again with the new case, and then we'll put you back. All right. Good morning, Mr. Hernandez Ramos. You know, I don't know if you watch the news, but every single day, perhaps every other day, someone dies in our county from an alcohol-related incident. It's so not fair. All you have to do, if you want to get loaded, is hit one button on your phone and you can have a car take you anywhere you want to go for 50 yards. You've now over and over back here for this foolishness. You now need to understand that it's out of my hands from now on. You're pleading guilty to both of these DWIs. They will both be going on your record. If you ever have the faintest smell of alcohol and you come into contact with an officer, from now on, you are looking at a felony offense, a minimum of 2 years in prison, a maximum of 10 years in prison. Is sending you to prison the way that we're going to have to get you to wake up? Look at me. Do you have to go to prison? Is that what it's going to take? All we're asking you to do is don't kill someone, man. Take an Uber. And if you're going to, don't have alcohol in the car. You now stand charged with 2 counts of driving while intoxicated. Both of those are elevated to Class A misdemeanors because of the high blow. You are facing up to a year in jail. The agreement that you have worked out is 60 days in jail with credit for 4 days that you have done on both of those cases. Both of these will be going on your record. So the next time it's a felony offense. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. By pleading guilty, you can never come back and change this or challenge this. Do you understand?
¿Usted lo entiende? Yes.
This is what you want to
Esto
do.
es lo que usted desea hacer. Esto. Esto es lo que usted desea hacer.
Sí.
Yes.
What have you learned?
¿Qué has aprendido?
Nada.
Nothing.
You don't know what you're not supposed to do in the
¿Usted
future?
no sabe lo que no debe de ser en el futuro?
Sí.
Yes.
What are you not supposed to do in the
Es lo
future?
que no
I want to make sure that you
quiero
understand.
asegurar que usted entienda.
Es que no tengo que más.
I don't have to drink.
I don't care if you want to drink.
Si quieres,
I don't care. If you want to drink,
si quieres,
don't get into a car.
mete en un automóvil. Okay.
What did we just learn?
¿Qué aprendiste ahorita?
Es que no tengo que meter, si tomo no me tengo que meter en el,
If I
no
drink,
tengo que manejar.
I don't need to drive.
I'm going to suspend your ability to get a license for 2 years. Do not drive until you get a license.
No maneje hasta que obtenga una licencia de conducir.
Did he say guilty or no? How do you plead to the offense,
¿Cómo te
guilty or not
declaras
guilty?
culpable o no culpable? Guilty.
I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to follow the agreement. Good luck to you, Mr. Hernandez.
That's right.
Ramos. Thanks.